Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you all to the Valedictory ceremony of the 11th Annual International Research Conference, Rule of Law in Context, SYMROLIC 2023, with the theme Globalization and Indian Resonances to Sustainable Development Goals, conducted by Symbiosis Law School Pune. Through her research cell, Symbiosis Center for Advanced Legal Studies and Research, SCALSA, and in association with our sister law schools, Symbiosis Law School, Noida, Hyderabad, and Nagpur. A warm welcome to our dignitaries on the dais, Professor Dr. Shashikula Gurpur ma'am, Director, Symbiosis Law School, Pune, and Dean, Faculty of Law, SIU. Professor Dr. Aprajita Mohanty ma'am, Deputy Director, Symbiosis Law School, Pune, and Associate Professor. And Professor Dr. Bindu Ronald ma'am, Professor, Symbiosis Law School, Pune. We would also like to welcome our dignitaries of the dais, Dr. Satya Sundar Sethi, Associate Professor at IIT Madras, Chennai, who we just experienced a workshop with on the topic of Indian philosophy in research. To you, ma'am, sir, and all our esteemed dignitaries, we are deeply appreciative of you and offer you our most grateful welcome. SYMROLIC represents the point of arrival of the Faculty of Law, SIU, at maturity into the world of legal research. Over the years, the conference has given us a platform to discuss, collaborate, and explore diverse issues in the field of legal studies. Let me not forget to mention and express our thanks to our knowledge partners for today: Eastern Book Company, Reader's World, Legacies, Hind Law House, Bombay Books, All India Reporter, Taxman, The Forward Books, The Word Bookshop. We are deeply grateful to them as well. SYMROLIC, of course, was the brainchild of our very own director, Professor Dr. Shashikala Gurpur ma'am, and she has seen it through for so many successful years. She has seen SYMROLIC grow, and it is only under her able leadership and guidance that SYMROLIC is what it is today, a truly international, interdisciplinary, and inspiring conference. And so, we invite on the dais our very own Professor Dr. Shashikala Gurpur ma'am to kindly address the august gathering with her concluding remarks for the conference.
Good evening, my colleagues, Dr. Bindu, Dr. Mohanty, of the dais, our esteemed guest, Professor Satya Sundar Sethi, and all dear faculty members and students and other invitees who are here. It's with a great sense of fulfillment and happiness that I'm here before you, making my observations about the saga of events witnessed in this hall since yesterday morning. Right from the beginning, the whole event has reflected our commitment to excellence, our commitment to teamwork, and also to cover, let us say, uncharted territory in legal research. So one of the ambitious approaches that we had taken long ago was to keep law at par with physical or natural sciences. So I should say that when we embarked on this journey of SYMROLIC, which began as a rule of law in context kind of conference long ago, it was mainly to see that we validate our research, we examine our research, we diagnose our research. In the process, we also encourage parallel researches going on in the country. But in last 11 years, if you look back and see, we did cover a long journey, long road, but our landmarks could still be better. Sometimes I feel as law researchers, we did not have a great, let us say, benchmark to match with our kind of law schools. By our kind of law schools, I mean, if you look at national law schools, they are unidisciplinary universities, whereas we are constituent of a deemed university who began our journey prior to 2002, way back in 1977, as affiliate of a state university. If you look at the law schools which are affiliate of state university, probably we have come a long way in terms of our focus on research. But if you look at us as an innovative law school under an innovative university, which was conferred deemed university status because of its excellence, I think we still have a long way to go. By that, I mean what new education policy has emphasized upon in terms of interdisciplinarity and transdisciplinarity, international strides, co-authorships. I think we have just begun our journey in many ways, whether it is our co-authoring with the people from technology school, fellow law schools within the faculty of law who are also here with us in this conference, and looking at other sister law schools across India, or looking at wholly new discipline which hasn't had any kind of insight on philosophy or jurisprudence or theories of law. So I always was wondering in my past also when I engaged with legal research that my core passion is in science, especially biological science. So when I got my fellowship to go to AHRB, Arts and Humanities Board of United Kingdom, a unique fellowship which I earned to Edinburgh Law School, the kind of thinking that was going on there in interdisciplinarity and in innovating law to match with the innovation in other areas was very much there by the early part of this millennium itself. Whereas in India, even today, we don't have a decent guideline on how to analyze science policy. Now I see this Center for Policy Research. Then there is another Vidhi Center, two independent research organizations looking at science in terms of only climate action. Beyond that, there are so many areas where science, which in itself is considered as a boon to humanity, needs to be critically reviewed. And today, our country, not only today, once we evolved into being a post-colonial country, we looked at science and technology as the flag bearers of our dream of development. And today, the incumbent administration talks about innovation in the center, which is an offshoot of this kind of science at a new level where we contribute original theories and products with utility. It is novelty with utility which makes innovation. Now, where are we in terms of that as people who are qualified in law, which with its power can even paralyze a mighty elephant, as I always say. If not about paralyzing mighty elephant, it could bring people back to life by, I mean, sometimes, we say that dead hand of the past is never gone away. Halsbury's Laws of England talks about it. It always governed. So such is the power of law. But if you look at innovation, law also becomes a kind of, blind ally to science, which should not be. I think if you are looking at justice, if you are looking at rule or rule of law per se, I think legal research needs to ask these critical questions. Seldom we have policy papers published in Nature kind of top journals, or another top journal is PubMed or other which has very highest impact factor or citation. But if you look at the legal dimensions, they themselves study. The experts in that field study law, understand it in its, I would say, in its anatomy, which is superficial, and then they write these articles in terms of matching, mismatching, connecting, correlating. Deeper analysis of, is it a mechanism of justice? What exactly happens to rule of law in its evolution? Those discussions, we can't expect so much. Now, that is exactly where I think even our center has to go a long way, the Scalcer. That is not a note of sadness or dissatisfaction, but that is a kind of rediscovery and soul searching that I could bring humbly before this house. Coming to 2 days activities, I really missed the workshop, sir, that you gave. I heard it was very good, very innovative. I think time has come for us to discover what our own wealth of truth searching was. Like when we were doing the 21st century peace skills investigation, we understood that the way you perceive the world through science and the way you perceive the world through Indian philosophy, whole lot of complexity was existing in the Indian perception, because it did not end up in just understanding and interpreting reality. It went in search of meaningfulness of as such. And that meaningfulness was not just about meaningfulness of the current economic activity that we are seeing now, but it was about the very purpose of our existence that our ancestors investigated in their knowledge engagement. So creating a system of knowledge was very much strong. And compared to that, West moves in a linear fashion, which we have adopted now, which is ruling now in our knowledge world. So I think from that point of view, even our law investigation for very long was informed by black letter law. I told yesterday, that court-centric law. Uh, but if you look at the court, human disputes, only 10% end up in the court. What happens to the 90% potential and actual disputes? They may miss the eye of a researcher in truth seeking if we don't go beyond the black letter law. So that is exactly where our aim of the conference was, to look at the dynamic dimension of Indian resonances to sustainable development goal and globalization. Therefore, I'm sure that I had gone through the abstracts. Number of abstracts did really resonate, something which many did not uncover in the traditional approach to legal research. And we have also seen the launch of the Child Rights Center from the international and comparative perspective yesterday. And that is our contribution to the future. That is our contribution to unveil the blindfold of the law in terms of the vulnerable in the society. Multi level of vulnerability is there in children. So we thought we will focus on them in terms of capacity building, advocacy, community education, legislative and policy reform, aside from research and ensuring access to justice, or critically evaluating access to justice in terms of children. We also had our tracks, and overall our tracks saw about 70 presentations, nearly 68 presentations over the last 2 days. And it had eminent panelists who gave wonderful feedback to these presenters. And it included the sitting vice chancellors of NUJs like Dr. Nirmal Chakrabarti. We had Professor Murthy, the vice chancellor of RV University, Bangalore. We had Professor Sharma, who came from the Maharashtra National University of Aurangabad. Aside from that, we had eminent resource persons evaluating these presenters like Professor Kushal Vibhuti, a great authority on criminal law, who is our distinguished visiting professor. Our own colleague from Hyderabad Law School, Symbiosis Law School, the director, and our former associate professor, Dr. Santosh Agav. And then we had we had one more sitting vice chancellor, Dr. Indrajit Dubey of Meghalaya National Law School, sitting in the second panel. We had a few of our colleagues from abroad, Professor Sanoj Rajan, who is based out of China. We had John Kirley, who came from the Ohio State University. We had our friend Tachik from Poland, judge, lawyer, as well as law professor. We had Dr. Prakash Rao, our own sister institute's deputy director from the Institute of International Business. We had Professor Naresh Kumar Vats, who is the professor of law and dean of Rajiv Gandhi National Law University, Patiala. Aside from that, we had Professor Chris Gledhill from New Zealand. So across the length and breadth of the globe, we had many people. Aside from them, we had the privilege of having our own visiting professor, Professor Rupal, and one of the eminent practitioners who is considered as the front runner, as a compliance person with the dual degrees in law and corporate compliances, Dr. Sudhas Tuljapurkar, who stands as a great testimony to the multidisciplinary experience and expertise in law. So these were the people who served as panelists who gave the feedback. So we had overall about 115 abstracts compared to 110 last year. 68 papers compared to 54 last year. So that's definitely an increase. And year on year, we are going from strength to strength. And then we had number of them coming on online and offline presentations. 28 presentations were made online, 34 were offline, and only 6 people were absent after registering, maybe due to technical and other reasons. Our knowledge partners have also come from a range of background. International publishers like Taylor and Francis, Indian being aside from Indian publishers and bookshops and legacies, this law firm of Dr. Tuljaputkar. So that is why I said that with the sense of satisfaction, I am standing before you as I make my concluding remark. This couldn't have been possible but for the wonderful teamwork that was put up by our senior team, alongside the hard work and solidarity shown by our younger faculty, researchers, junior research fellows, aside from our student advisory board's research team. I'm also very thankful to our well-wishers who have joined online from across the world, especially from Germany and other countries. The master's students, PhD students who are here, who have not missed a single moment of these presentations and rich retreat in the scholarly discussions. I think every Symbolic for us is a celebration of ideas. It is an academic festival. It is also a time when a book exhibition is done so that you have an access to resources on the ground floor. And I was seeing many undergraduate and other students purchasing books, taking a look at the books, because in my open house, always students say that we need more resources. So they could come out with some recommendation when they see these new books which are brought to their hostel gate or college gate. Now, aside from that, I'm very happy to announce with you or share with you, which we didn't do yesterday. This is a refereed conference. So we have Taylor and Francis coming on board with us. Therefore, those who are, which the papers which are selected, the papers which have been refereed by double-blind review, have the chance of getting published in the Scopus, which will be globally visible. So we don't want to leave any conference just as a ceremony, like a mindless wedding ceremony or other social ceremonies that you attend. We want it to be having an outcome. So the impact and outcome you saw in the statistics which I read, the quality of resource persons, the panelists who evaluated. Aside from that, definitely the outcome is going to be visible in the form of this compendium, which is going to come maybe before the next conference, at least 3 months before the next conference. That's our target. So we request all the scholars on and offline, the audience and our support team to stay with us, stay put with us till this outcome is ensured in registering its presence and visibility. It is only then that the conference thrives, because it goes away from being Aranyarodhan or the isolated cry in the wilderness to become a kind of imprint in the history of knowledge when these books are available for, or this compendium is available for everybody to access, refer, and take further in terms of strides of knowledge. I hope we have also created overall an impact pathway in the field of legal knowledge, as we did in last few years, but I feel this pathway that we have created will be a deeper impact for future Symbolics to behold and research scholars to learn from. Welcome once again.
Thank you, ma'am, for your evaluation and always encouraging and inspiring words. And thank you also for your cooperation and guidance throughout the preparation, planning, and execution, without which we wouldn't have been here. Life is a struggle, but those who sincerely and dedicatedly strive for the realization of their goals always succeed. And so, to showcase the successes from the 11th Symbolic 2023, we now turn to the much-awaited prize distribution ceremony. We request Professor Dr. Shashikala Gurpur ma'am, along with the dignitaries on the dais, to kindly give away the prizes to our track winners as the names are called out. We request all the winners to kindly come up to the dais as your names are called out. Let me just mention here that the books given to us, given as prizes, are sponsored by our very generous sponsor, Legacies. So for track 1, which was Law and Human Behavior, the winners are Samara Sahu. The runners-up for track 1 are Shiva Ramakrishnan M and Kaustubh Balaji, who are online. They have joined us online. For track 2, Business, Trade, Commerce, Management and Law, the winners are Yash Singh Naruka and Prerna Singh, who are also online. The runners-up are Ashish Vinod Naik and Sanskriti Mahale. For track 3 on international law policy and governance, we have the winners Akshay Triloki Nath, who is joining us online, and runners-up Hardik Jain and Rishi Khemnani. Okay. For track 4, we have on EU climate justice law, governance, management and policy. The winners are Shri Datta Charan, along with Dr. Prajita Mohanty, Dr. Sujata Arya and Yash. The runners-up is Vindhya Gupta. For track 5 on innovation, science, technology and law, the winners are Dr. Shirish Kulkarni and Sangrabit Chavan, along with Akshay Chugh. The runners-up for track 5 are Professor Jivantika Gulati and Radha Ranjan. For track 6 on public law, society and governance, the winner is Aradom Belai Khan. And runners-up are Radhya Bindal and Professor Amir Ali. Thank you to our dignitaries. And a big congratulations to all the winners. With this, we come to an end to the 11th edition of the annual International Research Conference, Rule of Law and Context, SYMROLIC 2023. It has been a pleasure indeed. T.S. Eliot, the famous poet, has said, "What we call the beginning is often the end. And to make an end is to make a beginning. The end is where we start from." And so, to end this occasion on a grateful note, I would like to request our Deputy Director of Academics and Associate Professor at SLS Pune, Professor Dr. Prajita Mohanty ma'am, to kindly deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Professor Natasha. After 2 days of intense panel discussion, 2 workshops, 6 tracks, which have seen address by eminent panelists and presentations by participants, we have come to an end of SYMROLIC 2023. On behalf of management of Symbiosis, Dean of Faculty of Law and Director of Symbiosis Law School, Pune, Dr. Sashikala Gurpur, faculty and staff of Symbiosis Law School, Pune, it is my honor to deliver the formal vote of thanks. I thank all our esteemed academics who supported us by consenting to be the chief guests of honor, and who have presided over tracks, addressed the participants, also evaluated the conference presentations, and enriched each research idea generated with their valuable suggestions and feedback. A sincere note of thanks and gratitude to the galaxy of legal luminaries, Professor Purvi Pokharial ma'am, Professor Asha Bajpai, Dr. KVS Sharma, Dr. YSR Murthy, Professor NK Chakravarti, Professor Indrajit Dubey, Professor Naresh Kumar, Professor MK Ramesh, Dr. Suhas Tuljapurkar, Advocate Punit Vasing. A special note of thanks to Dr. Rupal Raut Desai, professor and IP attorney, for being a consultant for SCALSAR and SYMROLIC conference. I also thank Dr. Kushal Vibhute sir, Dr. Santosh Aghav, Dr. Saurabh Chandra for being resource persons in tracks. I thank our international faculty who have always supported Symbiosis Law School Pune in its academic endeavors. Professor Trotman, Professor Tachik, Professor Gledhill, and Professor Quigley. A sincere note of gratitude to all of you for being in the tracks of the conference in spite of unfavorable time differences. I thank the resource persons for both workshops, Professor Yogesh Patil sir and Dr. Satya Sundar Sethi, for wonderfully delivering two most enriching workshops. I must put on record our awe and admiration for the energy and capability exuded by Professor Sashikala Gudpur. Ma'am, it's your energy, passion, sense of duty, and above all capability which has kept the law school attaining greater heights year after year. Thank you, ma'am, for being at the helm of all academic, admin, and co-curricular and extracurricular activities. And thank you for your diligence and attention to details. I once again thank Dr. Bindu Ronald, professor and co-head SCALSAR, for her and her team who have successfully visualized, planned, and executed the conference under the able guidance of Dr. Sashikala Gudpur. I thank all the faculty team looking into various aspects of the conference, coordinating with each other, and which has culminated in the smooth and effective execution of the conference. Thank you. I thank the IT team for the technical support rendered, without whose help the conference couldn't have been successfully held in hybrid mode. I thank the participants and the faculty and students who have presented papers and allowed their ideas to get concrete manifestation in form of research papers. I again thank the knowledge partners for sponsoring the event in terms of books and other logistics. I thank students support team for their support, assistance extended to faculty team in successfully executing the conference. Thank you all. I thank the admin department for the support in terms of logistics. And with this, we come to an end of SYMROLIC, and thank you one and all.
Thank you, ma'am, and thank you to all the dignitaries. Thank you to the audience for your patient listening. Good day to you all and farewell. Thank you. Just a